As a younger man, I found a way to get the communities to understand that we're all part of Yugambeh country. We might call ourselves Mananjali or Kombumerri, but we're really linked through history. One of the stories I drew on was a story of a man called Billy Drumley. He used to walk in the 1930s from the desert through the mountains, through the bush, to visit Patricia, my mum, and her family at Southport. That walk always inspired me as a young boy because I thought, wow, he would walk through beautiful country, he would have walked through Tamborine Mountain, and he would have arrived at this Aboriginal community of Southport, and he was regarded as a bit of a hero by the young people. So in 2005, I thought, why don't we retrace the steps that were taken by this Aboriginal leader back in the 1930s? I wanted to just get a sense of what he felt walking through traditional country. Within 3 years, we had about 300 people gathering in Badesert to send off the Drumley Walk, as it became known. It was an amazing event in that it promoted camaraderie, connection to country, and storytelling. But most importantly, it made us as an Aboriginal community aware that there are things to celebrate in our own story, and we need to unite as a community and share those stories with Mobo Jarjum, the next generation. We've come from my mother's generation where they were not allowed to speak the language. In fact, they were punished harshly for speaking language. And then my mother was alive when the tide turned, and then they were encouraged to speak language. We are probably the first generation that are actively pursuing the revitalisation of the language.
There were various word lists that had been done by academics and specifically linguists, and there was a lot of emphasis at the time on Bunjalung language. But we insisted all the time that Bunjalung was not our language. Had quite a lot of resistance from linguists because, as far as they were concerned, it was all the same language from the Logan River down as far as Grafton. And we said, no, we're not, we're different. Locals are following, or have been following, the linguists over the years, or not even the linguists, but what was written down for names. But if it went back to the old people who didn't bother to read word lists or anything, they would pronounce it in a different way, and those were the words that I would insist we listen to. To that extent, we have held on to quite a lot of the old pronunciations.
The museum did a few dreaming stories, and we turned those into children's educational programs. But now those same programs have been formed for government ministers down in Canberra. Part of it was just to bring about the stories that have all those unique words. So what's interesting is there's no point teaching someone a word if they don't know how to use it or don't know when to use it. So by teaching them this story, that creates something a lot more meaningful than just rote memorizing word lists. So I talked to people over at Jandai and Yugrabul, Waka Waka, Cubby Cubby, and a lot of us in the southeast Queensland, we all have a really strong connection, especially through our history. And because of that, we all historically used to speak each other's languages. So when I'm done learning Yugambeh, I haven't decided yet. I think I'm going to go and learn some Yagara, and I've kind of worked my way through bits of Cubby Cubby. There's so many little phrases that I've always loved in our language. There's one my nana's always said, which is Minyagu Poima Bannagal Balunga. And that literally means why worry when the river is so close?
If we look at the worldwide picture of language revival and revitalisation, the benefits to community are enormous when language is brought back from lost. We have horrifying statistics confronting our community. Language is a way we can turn it around for the next generations. If we give our children pride that language is something they should and have a right to use, if we can help them finish school, see that education and language are linked, I think we can turn around some of the horrible parts of our history that confront our children today. And that's what I would like us to focus on. We're doing this for the betterment of not just Aboriginal people, but all Australians. I live on Tambourine Mountain, which is in the centre of Yugambeh country. And every morning I wake up to the call of many, many birds and the happiness of them screeching and carrying on and talking to each other and just being excited. And the word I think of all the time, and it's a hopeful word for the future, is butai butai. And it means happy families. And it draws on that feeling that you get when you're around a tree full of the birds, because you can see them, you can sense them, and they give off this aura of happiness. So butai butai, it's a beautiful word, and I think of the next generations whenever I use it.